Hello, my name is Anna, and I used to feel terribly shy about speaking English. Although I'd taken many classes, the words never seemed to come out right. One day, I discovered something that changed my perspective. A small movie club in my neighborhood dedicated to practicing English through cinema. Intrigued, I decided to give it a try. My friend Rosa told me how at this weekly gathering, people chatted openly about scenes from popular films. They paused to discuss new expressions, compare accents, and share personal anecdotes. She said the environment was warm, inviting, and supportive of everyone's unique journey, from the absolute beginner to the advanced speaker. The very thought of discussing my favorite movie scenes made me both excited and a little nervous. Still, I knew deep down that this was precisely the opportunity I needed to overcome my fears and gain confidence. So I packed a small notebook, prepared my best smile, and walked into that welcoming room for the first time. The hum of casual chatter in English reached my ears, and though it felt unfamiliar, there was a thrill in each syllable. I could already sense my nervousness beginning to fade. Before I even introduced myself, I noticed a sign on the wall. Share your thoughts, share your voice. Something about that simple message filled me with hope. And so my journey with the Club of Cinema in English began. I took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to transform my uncertain English into fluent conversation. As I stepped further into the modest, softly lit room, I noticed a cozy semicircle of chairs facing a portable projector screen. A few warm smiles greeted me as I took in the faint hum of whispered conversations in English. Posters of classic films adorned the walls, setting a playful tone for what I hoped would be a supportive environment. I found a seat near the front, letting the soft chatter wrap around me. The group, a mixture of ages and nationalities, seemed relaxed but eager. Some participants flipped through small notebooks, highlighting lines or phrases from previous sessions. Others leaned over to share ideas or quick jokes, already displaying an easy comfort with the language. Unsure of my abilities, I watched them, hoping I'd soon feel equally at ease. Moments later, the organizer entered, a tall, energetic man named Luke, who wore a big grin and carried a stack of DVDs. Luke introduced himself in a clear, slowly paced English, immediately putting everyone at ease. He explained that before starting the film, we would share quick introductions. I felt a little flutter of nerves, but the supportive atmosphere encouraged me to speak up. So, when my turn came, I offered a few cautious sentences about my love of romantic comedies and my goal of becoming a more confident speaker. A friendly round of applause followed. "You're in the right place," Luke said, beaming. Next, he explained how each meeting worked. Typically, they chose a film segment around 10 minutes long packed with everyday expressions and interesting vocabulary. After watching, they paused to discuss new words, subtle cultural references, and any tricky idioms. Then, they engaged in short dialogues, practicing the phrases learned. To round out the session, Luke often picked a conversational game or role-play activity tied to the film's theme. Even as I listened, I could still feel that flicker of anxiety, worried my English wouldn't measure up to the more advanced speakers around me. However, it became clear that this group valued mutual support over perfection. Reassured by their openness, I began to embrace the process. I couldn't wait to experience my first screening and see how everyone interacted once the projector rolled. Despite my lingering uncertainties, I was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead in the club of cinema in English. This marked the true beginning of an adventure toward confidence and fluency, one movie at a time. When the lights dimmed, a wave of anticipation swept through the small group. Luke stepped to the front of the room with a confident smile, clutching a DVD case labeled Comedy Classics. He announced that this evening's film segment would be from the light-hearted romantic comedy notorious for its clever banter. My heart fluttered with excitement and nerves. I was eager to test my English, though a small voice inside me worried about missing half the jokes. Still, I steadied myself, reminding my anxious mind that this was exactly why I had joined the club, to learn, improve, and overcome any hesitations. The film began with a bustling city scene, the camera following two chatty friends who tossed witty remarks back and forth. Immediately, we heard expressions like, "Give me a break," and "I'm all ears." Even without pausing, I caught a glimpse of how naturally these phrases flowed in everyday conversation. My hand shot to my notebook, and I managed to scribble a few words before Luke used the remote to halt the movie, freezing a frame where both characters looked mid-laugh. So he began, "Can anyone tell me what 'give me a break' means in this context?" A flurry of whispers arose. One participant ventured a guess. "It might mean they want a rest?" Luke nodded thoughtfully. "That's close." But in this situation, it's more like saying, "Oh, come on," or expressing disbelief in a playful way. He resumed the movie, letting us listen to a few lines, then paused again. "What about 'I'm all ears'? Who can explain?" Another person chimed in. "It's an informal way of saying, 'I am listening carefully. Please go on.'" Satisfied, Luke pressed play. The characters on screen continued their banter, tossing in slang and jokes that sparkled with effortless humor. Throughout the scene, we witnessed a misunderstanding between the two friends that led to exaggerated facial expressions and comedic tension. Meanwhile, I felt my own tension recede, replaced by curiosity and focus on deciphering each line. As soon as Luke paused the video a third time, the room broke into lively conversation. Some repeated the lines under their breath, practicing pronunciation, while others debated alternate meanings. Luke walked between the chairs, listening to our whispered attempts before offering gentle corrections. I was amazed at how the simplest turn of phrase like, "You're pulling my leg," had so many nuances in tone and context. When Luke guided our attention back to the screen, I noticed how the humor relied on specific cultural cues. The characters referenced local sports teams, traffic jams, and favorite cafes. These details, Luke explained, shaped the authenticity of dialogue. He asked if anyone recognized the subtle sarcasm in one character's reply. At first, we hesitated, but eventually a confident voice from the back identified the sarcastic tone and explained how the words themselves didn't match the speaker's facial expression. That mismatch, Luke concluded, is the essence of sarcasm in English. We watched the remainder of the comedic exchange, and by the time the scene ended, my notebook was full of underlined phrases, mini definitions, and question marks. Despite the complexity, I felt reassured. Others seemed equally engaged, jotting down words and exchanging quiet smiles when they finally grasped a tricky idiom. This shared sense of discovery was contagious. Before moving on, Luke initiated a brief discussion. "How did you feel about that scene?" he asked, scanning the circle of faces. Different hands shot up. One person mentioned feeling overwhelmed by the speed of dialogue. Another pointed out that the comedic timing made everything more enjoyable. Summarizing our feedback, Luke said, comedy is tough in any language because it demands quick thinking and an ear for tone. But every laugh we share is a step closer to fluency. I couldn't help but smile. It was comforting to know I wasn't alone in my confusion or my enthusiasm. In that moment, I realized the real magic of this club lay not just in watching movies, but in watching them together, bonded by a collective determination to grow. As we prepared for the next segment, I felt a newfound confidence blossom. Maybe I'd stumble on certain words, maybe I'd pronounce them awkwardly, but each pause and discussion offered me another opportunity to learn. This single scene had already taught me so much, and I couldn't wait to uncover more. Luke turned on the lights, revealing a collective sense of wonder among our group. Everyone was eager to dissect the comedic segment we'd just witnessed. He started by listing the new expressions, such as, "Give me a break, I'm all ears," and "You're pulling my leg." Each phrase had multiple implications beyond its literal meaning, and he encouraged us to think of real-life contexts where they might apply. Next, he focused on pronunciation. The comedic style demanded clear enunciation, yet the characters spoke rapidly, sometimes blending words. Luke highlighted how native speakers often skip certain consonants or merge sounds, something that could puzzle learners. To counter confusion, he recommended deliberate practice, repeating short phrases out loud, listening carefully for vowel shifts and consonant clusters. We then delved into common pitfalls. Some participants admitted mixing up your and your, or failing to distinguish between here and here. Luke showed how subtle errors can change a statement's meaning, yet stressed that mistakes were natural stepping stones. He also taught us to listen for tone cues, especially in comedic setups where sarcasm or exaggerated intonation can flip a line's meaning entirely. Finally, Luke linked everything back to our broader goals: improving confidence, mastering conversational flow, and building listening comprehension. Watching a funny movie clip, he explained, offers an authentic snapshot of everyday English, complete with slang, cultural references, and emotional nuance. By actively engaging with the dialogue, we strengthen our ability to communicate in real-world scenarios. In this way, the comedic snippets served as both entertainment and an invaluable learning tool. Our discussions allowed each member to clarify doubts or share personal insights, making the lesson not just a lecture, but a collective exploration. Even our mistakes became stepping stones toward greater fluency. The more we revealed our uncertainties, the more we learned. Luke smiled, addressing the group. "All right, everyone, let's put these new expressions to work. We'll pair up and create short skits incorporating phrases like, 'Give me a break,' or 'You're pulling my leg.' Focus on using them in natural-sounding context. If you get stuck, don't worry, we're here to help each other." Anna teamed up with a fellow learner named Paul, who was just as eager to experiment with spoken English. They brainstormed a quick scenario. Anna would pretend to be upset about a ridiculous rumor, and Paul would respond with playful disbelief using, "Give me a break." Their dialogue stumbled at first, but the repetition and encouragement from nearby participants loosened their nerves. Soon, Anna found herself laughing at her own pronunciation errors and feeling more at ease. Meanwhile, Luke roamed the room, listening to each pair and offering constructive suggestions. Whenever he sensed confusion, he'd prompt them to simplify or rephrase a line, ensuring that everyone felt comfortable enough to keep going. Even the more advanced speakers admitted they discovered a fresh angle on an everyday phrase, reminding everyone that learning never ends. After several rounds, Luke invited volunteers to showcase their short skits for the entire group. A quiet buzz of excitement filled the room as pairs rose to perform. By seeing how others employed the same phrases, Anna and Paul gained confidence in their delivery. Each performance concluded with cheerful applause, reinforcing the club's supportive spirit. Even small mistakes were met with encouraging smiles, underscoring the idea that each stumble was a stepping stone toward real progress. With each performance, laughter and shared learning molded the group into a nurturing community where English took center stage and everyone had a part to play. In that supportive environment, Anna realized her progress was beginning, fueled by curiosity and camaraderie. With the final round of applause, Anna recognized that her fear had subsided. Surrounded by supportive peers, she realized that each conversation, each shared laugh, and each moment of confusion overcome in the group was forging a path to fluency. The once daunting world of English started to feel more like an adventure, one she was thrilled to explore. Determination replaced doubt as she gathered her notes and thanked Luke for the immersive session. She promised herself to keep practicing every day, seeking out opportunities to speak and learn from mistakes. Encouraged by the kindness and energy in the room, Anna felt a renewed sense of confidence. Tomorrow she'd watch another comedy clip, daring herself to catch all the witty remarks. Because at the Club of Cinema in English, every scene was a chance to grow, and she was more than ready for the next reel. She felt truly empowered now,